Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to our PDO's LinkedIn Live. Here we talk about the account based sales revolution, and we have a special topic today. We're talking about how to navigate the new generation of strategic or key account managers. Joining us today is Denise Freier from the Strategic Account Management Association, as well as Dino Bertani from Zealand Pharma. And I think it is the second LinkedIn Live for both of you, no?
Correct. Good to
Yeah.
be
Yes.
back.
Yeah, so thank you for joining us for a second time. Yeah, just like last time, I would like to kick it off with a brief round of introductions to yourself and a bit of a background, because I think that will set the scene of this LinkedIn Live quite nicely. And Denise, would you please start?
Happy to. Thank you. I'm currently the president and CEO of SAMA, or Strategic Account Management Association, for 5 years. For those who don't know us, we're a nonprofit organization, and we're 100% focused on the effectiveness of strategic account or key account management. We offer training and events, but most importantly, probably networking and benchmarking among peers to share best practices. Now, the 40 years before that, I was in IBM in sales and sales management over those years. During that time, I was actually a strategic account manager for a while, also a global sales executive, and then led the development of IBM's global selling methodology across all of our brands. So, with that background, I was just delighted and passionate to join SAMA in this new role. Thank you.
Thank you, Denise. Over to you, Dino.
Thank you very much, Max. Very happy to introduce myself. My name is Dino Bertani, and I joined Zealand Pharma in Copenhagen almost a year ago as head of alliance management in order to establish this new function at the company and to lead our company's strategic partnerships. Prior to Zealand, I spent about 20 years in commercial roles in big pharma companies such as AbbVie, Allergan, MSD, and Pfizer, in local, regional, and global roles. But it was about 10 years ago when I first got exposed to SAMA and the world of strategic account management and customer centricity. This is where I really kind of found my real passion to take on different roles as strategic account manager, SAM program officer, strategic account director, and most recently, alliance management.
Nice. And yeah, again, a big thank you for joining us. It's always a great pleasure to talk to you when you spill your wisdom and knowledge. And I think before we really get into the topic today, I think I would like to take a step back and kick it off with more of a general question on what is going on in the world of strategic account management. And Denise, you as the CEO and president of SAMA, you have a broad perspective on industry trends. And I would like to ask you, how do you see that the role of SAMs change over time, and what were the drivers behind it?
Good question. I think although strategic account or key account management has always been about treating your top customers differently, more relationship driven, we have really seen changes, especially after COVID. You know, the customers are changing. They're expecting more loyalty from their vendors. They're expecting even greater responsiveness and flexibility from us. The supply chain issues we've had turned the world upside down. And your key accounts expected and maybe even deserved top priority. So I think now customers expect this agility from your company and really key insights from their strategic account manager beyond maybe even the company's normal scope. So we need to know their industry, their business strategy, and their challenges in order to maintain that kind of trusted advisor status. So now you really need to differentiate yourself from your competition more with personal insights and your company's commitment to service, not just the product, as we may have done in the past. And I think additionally, keep in mind that customers are more willing to switch suppliers in this environment than they've ever been before. And I think we need to be more prepared as a result.
Thank you, Denise. And Dino, same question for you. And you just mentioned it yourself. You came to Zealand Pharma. You're now the VP. You're also part of the SAMA board, but you came to Zealand Pharma to establish this kind of process. So I'm asking you now, from a practitioner's perspective, what is your take on the evolving role of SAMs and KAMs?
Yeah, definitely a lot has happened around us. And when I reflect on the last few years, I really feel like it's becoming absolutely critical for KAMs or SAMs to build the adaptability and resilience skills to really kind of thrive during these evolving business situations. I think gone are the times where you develop these long-range plans and ensure to stay course on its execution, since our business world is really undergoing these fundamental changes at various levels at the same time, driven by technological advancements. We have disruptions, redefined supply chains, unpredictable geopolitical situations around the globe, and so on and so forth. So what our strategic partners really seek from us are insights and foresights. And what I mean is really where we're heading. This is kind of the big question that everyone is asking ourselves. And they want us to be their trusted advisor who really successfully engages key stakeholders across both organizations. So it's important that we, in a collaborative way, can work proactively through co-innovation, basically, with our customers or kind of key partners. We have to become our partners, what's a nice term to say, outside insider. And I picked this term up from a kind of recent book that Adrian Davies published about a hero's journey. This we kind of means that they need someone that they can get a fresh perspective from someone who's not too close to them, and potentially even challenging their own way of thinking. So that's, I think, a key kind of skill and something to kind of put forward as we kind of evolve in this kind of disruptive kind of times. There's a lot of room to also truly differentiate against competition in this space. What was really eye-opening to me when I first kind of read a study from the Summit Group that they performed recently is that customer executives stated that only 7% of suppliers understand their business needs and are worth of a long-term strategic relationship. So this makes you really kind of think, because if you turn this around, what it also says is that actually 13 out of 14 suppliers are wasting their customers' or partners' time and are at risk to be replaced by another supplier, as Denise just alluded before. On the other hand, again, this is a big opportunity, because if you manage to become the one out of the 14 who fully understands your customers' or partners' business by adding value on a continuous basis, that's important as well, you're really making yourself indispensable by bringing simplicity and clarity to a world of complexity.
Nice. Very, very interesting. Thank you. And I think this is actually a really good fundament for our discussion now, right? And we have basically structured the next 20 minutes or so in 34 building blocks, right? So the first one, we want to dive deeper into the overall topic, of course, navigating the next generation of strategic account managers. First part would be soft skills or skill set. Second part would be looking more into the tech capabilities or technology. And then the third part would be sustainability, diversity, equity, and inclusion. I know that's a topic very close to your heart, Denise. And then moving to the last part, where we talk about well-being and mental health and how that affects performance of strategic account managers or key account managers. And with the first part, Denise, last time we talked, you mentioned something that really stick with me and I thought was very interesting. You said what a lot of times earlier or back in the day seemed as soft skills kind of turned to becoming hard skills in a way. What do you mean by that, and what does that mean for companies?
Yeah, I really do think that we haven't focused on soft skills much, but I think that might be one of the most important changes that are happening personally for the account managers. And it's not really just with my SAMA lens on. Post-pandemic, McKinsey actually did some research on the changing environment and skills, but it was across all roles. And they found that most companies were already behind in reskilling their workforce and what they needed to do. And there were 4 skills that they outlined. Number one, and maybe the most obvious and no surprise, is the ability to operate in a digital way. So this means using multiple channels or data analytics and, of course, artificial intelligence, all sorts of technology. The second skill they highlighted was developing more cognitive skills. And here I mean the ability to respond and even proactively create or redesign or innovate with your client. The third skill was strengthening social and emotional skills. We never really heard that before, but now collaborating across roles internally and externally is really critical for success. For us, this is truly a team sport in strategic account management. And the fourth skill they highlighted was agility, being able to build adaptability and resilience to thrive during this ever-changing business environment that we're in today. Now, when I heard that, this could have been written for us directly, for sales directly. And we are seeing it among our membership in what's changing. So I thought, what does that really mean for you, the account managers and the account leaders? You really need to be a consultative problem solver, a strategizer, right? And it's about being able to build more strategic thinking skills and more emotional maturity. And companies aren't focused yet on providing this kind of training, but yet it is so important. It is how to communicate differently, even to listen differently. It's to engage in ways that you've not engaged before. So I think the skills can be developed and they can be improved, but maybe not in the traditional, take an e-learning module. This is going to take coaching and commitment and a willingness on each of us to grow and develop. So I think here the experience and guidance from managers will be so very important to continue.
And building up on that, Dino, what are your thoughts on the skill sets that the new generation of SAMs need to be successful?
I fully echo Denise's points and would like to even further highlight the importance of emotional intelligence and social skills for KAMs and SAMs moving forward. Whenever I'm evaluating a very successful collaboration by really trying to understand the differences between true value-creating strategic alliances and other, let's say, regular alliances, there's always one key differentiator: the people. Even though alliance management is an information-rich profession, the people involved make the difference. More than ever, I would say. I mean, people who have the ability to build these deep, trust-based relationships, have real empathy, and are creative, out-of-the-box thinkers at the same time, are going to be the winners in this new environment. So furthermore, I also think that alliance management often involves managing different cultural norms, languages, business practices, which again require a deep understanding of different contexts and a high level of emotional intelligence. These competencies or skills can't be learned as a seminar or online course, as Denise just said, but you can really foster early on in your career to be exposed to diverse teams, multinational projects, or in order to get a robust understanding that there are many different ways of working and practices. And oh yes, I would also mention traveling or living abroad for some time really makes a difference, as it helps to develop an open-minded view and this sensitivity for all kinds of human interactions. One could summarize this trend as evolving from a customer-centric mindset to a human-centric mindset.
Nice. And there's already so many things that are tying into the third and the fourth point, actually. But one thing I want to pick up now, Dino, is what Denise just mentioned about the ability to operate in a digital way. This is something also we at Arpedio see that companies now are starting to invest quite heavily into technology, especially when it supports their strategic account managers. My question to you, Dino, is from your perspective, how can SAMs effectively leverage technology? And maybe to spice up this question a little bit, what role do you think the CRM plays in that?
Great question. And let me try to address this question in two parts, Max. So first, I'll share my thoughts about how technology will really influence all sales-related roles, including KAM, SAM, alliance management, and the customer or partner interactions. In a second step, I'll zoom into CRM specifically. Because in a recent Harvard Business Review study that I kind of read, and it was quite interesting to hear about how generative AI will change sales. The key benefits will obviously be in reducing all these administrative or standard tasks that can easily be automated. For example, by helping write emails, respond to proposal requests, organize notes, and automatically update CRM tools. AI-powered systems can recommend personalized content and product offers, along with the best channel to use to connect with customers or partners. And these recommendations are usually based on the data and preferences and behaviors of the customer or partner, or similar customers or partners, as well as past interactions with the customer or partner. Furthermore, again, I think with generative AI, reporting systems can become even more powerful and forward-looking. Let's consider account planning tasks as an example. Often I kind of feel it's a repository of past events, it's like a project plan, but actually it could become something much more important. By dialoguing with the system, opportunities can be discovered, key account strategies formulated, and determine how to allocate efforts to geographies, customers, partners, products, and activities. And CRM, that you mentioned as well, is, I think, also a big enabler of all these kind of changes and the evolution, because modern CRM systems and tools are supporting the digital transformation of, for example, how organizations manage partnerships and alliances. Let's start again here with efficiency gains, which are really achieved through better organization of the work by tracking everything in one place while providing real-time analytics to stakeholders and partners. This forms the basis for further business optimizations by transforming the role of the alliance manager's work from reactive and administrative to proactive and delivering on strategic alliance value. And the effectiveness is further increased if you kind of look at the platforms that allow you to collaborate with partners in real time using global insights to drive the trajectory of the entire alliance ecosystem that opens the door to improved or even new collaboration opportunities.
If I may, Max, I'd like to add.
Yes, please.
It's a great point that Dino made about collaborating across the ecosystem and using technology. I was just reminded of a couple of fun facts that the audience might appreciate. The first one was last year, McKinsey did a study on technology in omni-channels, multiple channels. They found that 78% of clients are willing to switch if there's not a consistent experience across these channels. So it sounds like your CRM systems really need to share information for your SAM or your KAM from all channel interactions that the customer has. I think this has now become a mandate to have a multi-channel approach to your clients. The second fun fact I learned is there was a state of artificial intelligence report, as Dino's led with. 24% of CEOs are regularly using AI for work. Now that did surprise me. So I guess I walked away with, boy, it's really here. And the most common departments that are using AI are sales and marketing. So it's even more support for how we have to adapt to technology.
Yeah, very, very interesting. And actually a bit of a teaser here. Our next LinkedIn Live will be around AI, so stay tuned for that. For now, I would like to make a bit of a jump here, leaving the tech capabilities behind, also the skill set of or the skills that are needed to be successful for the new generation of SAMs or KAMs. And now I would like to maybe change the perspective a bit and look more into the working environment and the workplace. And I know this next topic, Denise, is a topic that is very close to your heart. You put a lot of energy into that in the SAMA space, but also outside. And I'm talking about sustainability, but also diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I think this is a tough question, but I would like to ask you, how can SAMs and KAMs actually incorporate these aspects in their interactions with clients?
It's a great question and a hard one in some cases. But
Mm.
first, let's ignore sales for just a minute. Our lives have changed around these topics everywhere, right? We're all talking about sustainability and diversity around environmental, social, and governmental regulations. I mean, it's become common knowledge. And many companies have this as a primary business initiative. So I think first, as a SAM, you need to know your client's position on these areas. What are they focused on? And then second, you need to know your own company's initiatives here. Do you comply? Will your client accept you as a vendor in today's world? So you can't let this get in your way. The topics are very relevant to the account management role. So I started to think about how can you differentiate in this space. So I thought a quick story might help here. Duke Energy, a utilities company here in the US, had a very new key account manager. She was asked a question by her client, what Duke is doing around a significant issue with tier 2 suppliers of energy. Now, the topic here is not the point, but how to handle the request. Duke did not have a specific strategy or answer. So the account manager contacted a few other customers and other suppliers in the ecosystem, and she just held a roundtable. And then this to discuss the issues. And as a result, they sort of formed an advisory board and even created a coalition in the community for tier 2 diverse suppliers. All the companies had ESG goals. And even though there wasn't an immediate answer, they co-created one and built a real loyal relationship with this strategic account manager. But, there's also a business component here, right? Especially if you think about diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, DEI and B, we learned that companies that are in the top percentile of having DEI strategies, they are 36% more profitable and have 22% less turnover. So these are real numbers that we should be incorporating into our businesses. So I thought about what can your company do to promote the right thinking and the right activities. Another quick story. Axis Communications, another company here, they actually conducted bias training for all employees. Now, this is focused on, are you listening with the intent to serve? This kind of training, although not traditional, is available. And now it certainly isn't usually in our sales curriculum, but maybe we should all be considering that. And there's some other simple tactics that you can use to really highlight you and your company's focus on this. Are you including your company's DE&I strategy in your RFP responses? Is there a standard, maybe company approved paragraph that you can add, whether they've asked for it or not? And also maybe have some peer-to-peer executive meetings, your diversity executive with their diversity executive, and learn how you might collaborate around the topic. So I think there are certainly ways that we can elevate our sensitivity and impact on these topics.
And I'm very happy that you brought up Axis Communications, because they're also a Scandinavian company, right? Like Arpedio. And I think this conversation is a good bridge also to the next topic of well-being and mental health. And I think, Dino, you're now working also for a Scandinavian company. I feel like in Scandinavia, this topic is or companies are very aware of the importance of that, of employee well-being, right? But you coming to my question now, you've also worked for very big corporates like you mentioned, Pfizer, Merck, AbbVie, and with this background, what is your experience? What strategies can companies implement to support well-being, mental health of their SAMs, and how does it affect performance?
Yeah, no, thank you. I think, again, I'd start with to say that, first of all, it's really important to acknowledge the importance of mental illness, which actually is the single greatest cause of workers' disability worldwide, according to a recent survey that was conducted among employers. So mental health conditions are common and treatable. That's the good news, that they are treatable. Yet 8 in 10 workers say shame and stigma prevent them from seeking the treatment and care they need. That's because negative stereotypes about mental illness still persist both in and out of the workplace. Even in the most progressive workplaces that I had the pleasure to work in, many employees keep their conditions secret. They may be afraid that being open about them will hurt their reputation, compromise work relationships, or even jeopardize their job. Stigma can prevent employees from seeking help and getting better, but employers can combat stigma by creating an unsupportive workplace culture. So turning it back into kind of Scandinavia, kind of Denmark specifically, all of my former employers took mental health very seriously and had various mental well-being programs or workplace initiatives installed for their employees, as they kind of recognize the importance of it. But I feel that at my current employer, Zealand Pharma, here in Copenhagen, mental health awareness is taken even a step further, as you don't get frowned upon if you're taking stress or sick leave in Denmark. And 2 elements that I'd like to kind of highlight and zoom into a bit more that are particularly supportive of mental well-being are the following ones. The first one that I really kind of feel that we live day in and day out is this no blame culture at Zealand. It creates a psychological safety net, since nobody will be punished or humiliated for speaking up with ideas, questions, concerns, mistakes, or their own challenges. Actually, our company successfully created a supportive workplace culture that is key to building trust and laying the foundation for a psychologically healthy environment. Our CEO, executives, and managers, they also express their own vulnerabilities to help fight stigma. Opening up about your own mental health challenges sends a message that it's okay to ask for help, even at work. It signals that the workplace is an environment that will help to be supportive and understanding. The second element I'd like to highlight is our sense of belonging and the higher purpose, which I also feel are making a big difference. Did you know actually that a manager has the same influence on an employee's mental health as their own spouse or partner, and that a strong sense of belonging aligns with higher productivity, innovation, and fewer missed days of work? That's a huge responsibility and opportunity at the same time for KAM SAM managers who are on the forefront, kind of the front line for the employee mental health challenges. They're often in the best position to know when their KAM SAMs may need targeted support or when workplace changes may be required to improve mental health outcomes. Guiding KAMs and SAMs to also support their coworkers builds cohesive and resilient cross-functional teams that achieve more together.
If I could add on to that again, Max, Dino, your experience at Zealand is an excellent way to really do something about this. So to motivate you all further, there was a state of mental health report. And in that report, they learned 3 in 5 sellers are struggling with mental health. And in the sales roles, account managers and sales leaders seem to be impacted the most. So it really is an important topic for us to address.
And an amazing opportunity in a setup like this to actually address these topics. And I know we could talk about this a lot longer, but we are kind of coming to an end here. And we always have a closing tradition here at the Arpedio LinkedIn Lives, where we ask our guests for a key takeaway or a key learning. And Denise, I would like to start with you.
Sure. Well, there's a lot changing here, but I would say there's still the foundation of putting your client at the center of your company's strategy. That is going to be the case, and also the center of your personal business priorities. Yet we all need to adapt to these new things. So a few things that really jumped out for me. One is I would invest in upskilling the teams. I think it is important. Use these softer skills, as we talked about, of strategic thinking and agility and EQ, emotional quotient skills. The second thing is invest in technology. It is here to stay. We need to use more channels. We need to adapt on how our customers want to work with us. So be sure that your customer service teams, they're using technology to better the relationship with the client at their level. I think the last thing I would add is don't stop learning or investing, right? Keep your eyes open for opportunities to go to webinars, go to conferences. So I'll certainly share with you that SAMA has our European conference coming up October 18th and 19th, where several of these topics and more will be explored. So those interested could go to our website and register. So thank you for the opportunity here, Max.
Yeah, and Denise, I think we will also, good that you mentioned, we will drop a link to that in the comments later on. Dino, what about you? What are your key learnings or key takeaways that you want to share with sales leaders watching?
There's a lot, of course, that we could kind of talk about or kind of summarize, but if I really kind of boil it down to the essence, I always kind of believe it comes down to the essential communication and interactions about human beings. What I mean, if I kind of were kind of to expand it to 3 points, is really establish an effective communication, as this is really the foundation of any successful alliance. And a strong and proactive communicator will really be able to build this trust and ensure that everyone is aligned on the goals and objectives of the alliance. As a second point, alliances are also very often subject now to change as market conditions and business priorities evolve. So it's important to be flexible and adaptable and to have contingency plans in place for unexpected events. Seek someone with a high willingness to pivot the alliance as needed and to be open to new ideas and approaches. Third, I would also kind of think that you should really double down on your emotional intelligence and social skills, as it can really make a huge difference. If you can understand the culture of your partner, particularly as it relates to decision-making and risk tolerance, as they impact the speed of the partnerships.
Amazing. And if there's somebody in the audience who wants to reach out to you, who maybe has a question, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
I think since we're on LinkedIn, feel free to reach out via LinkedIn. Very happy to kind of connect and establish a discussion. I mean, that's, I think, the quickest and easiest way here.
Amazing.
I would agree. LinkedIn is an easy way to reach me. Also, you can get a hold of SAMA directly.
Perfect. So thank you everyone for joining us today. As mentioned, the next LinkedIn Live will be around AI. Hope to see you there. Make sure to follow SAMA, Zealand Pharma, or PD on LinkedIn to stay tuned to what's coming next. And yeah, big thank you, Dino and Denise, for joining us today. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Max.